If you've had a good start to the year with your fitness goals, but now you're going into the summer with all the extra activities and commitments, worried you're going to undo all of your progress, this video is for you. Because here's where most people go wrong. They go into the summer trying to keep the same routine that worked before, but now through some of the busiest months of the year. And then they get overwhelmed, realize they can't manage it, and then by August get so discouraged with themselves that they just check out completely. Might as well wait until September when the kids are back at school, right? But the problem here isn't that summer's just too busy. You just haven't been taught how to navigate it while still making progress. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through the exact strategy my client Cynthia and I used to be down over 25 pounds in the last 9 months, and now how we're adapting that plan through the summer so that she keeps the weight off and still progresses through the summer months. My name's Dylan, and for the last couple of years, I've been helping people just like Cynthia lose 20 plus pounds and keep it off while breaking the pattern of dieting for months just to put it all back on during the busy months of the year. And this is what I'm going to help you with today. But before I get into it, if you want a step-by-step guide showing exactly the steps I take with new clients to get them started on their journey, I've put together a free 30-day blueprint to help you do exactly that. The link is in the description below. So step 1 is how we've gotten to this point right now. When Cynthia and I started working together, she had tried basically everything. Cardio boot camps, home workout programs, follow along YouTube videos, HIIT classes, the same stuff you've probably tried before too. And of course, none of it worked, and she just felt like she was wasting her time. She was trying as hard as she could, but none of these plans were actually built in a way that would get her results that she wanted, or in a way that she could actually consistently adhere to it. So she was just left exhausted, frustrated, and seeing no change in the mirror. So this time we tried a different approach. One that was actually going to help her see real changes in her body and reward her for the work she was already putting in. And that approach starts with structured strength training. Going to the gym and lifting heavy weights to get stronger right from the start. Of course, this wasn't going to be a perfectly seamless transition. She had tried going to the gym before, but she'd never felt quite comfortable. She knew she wasn't doing the exercises right, and she just felt a bit lost. But that's because no one actually showed her how to do things properly. So she always left the gym feeling discouraged, and eventually she quit. And plenty of time spent building her confidence with her movements, getting comfortable back in the gym, and learning what it actually feels like to train hard and push through that burn. But our intention from day one was to make this the anchor of our routine, and this is what was the missing piece for building the body that she actually wanted, so we stuck it through. But the gym wasn't the only part of this journey. We also very early started tracking her food, calories, and macros, so there was no guess about what she was actually taking in. We weren't just trying to eat pretty healthy and just hope for the best, but instead she knew exactly what she needed to be eating and why, and that meant she saw predictable results rather quickly. And we kept track of her movement too, but kept it super simple. No hour-long cardio sessions that would just tire her out, but just a set amount of time spent walking each day, and a target number of 5 sessions on our walking pad throughout the week. With that plan in place, she went and took action and stayed consistent for 9 whole months. She checked in with me every single week and made sure to follow the plan so she could get the result. And that's being down over 25 pounds, down multiple inches in her waist, and having to have an entirely new wardrobe. She's made so much progress that people now notice and comment on her progress every single week. She did this while working 12-hour shifts at work, still having weekends at the cabin with her friends, and stay consistent through Christmas and other holidays without completely falling off track. There was no need to have to sacrifice everything fun or restart on every single Monday, because she had a plan that could adapt to her life. And so that brings us to this moment where we're stopping dieting for the summer. Because here's the thing, the warmer months are coming up, and Cynthia's been in a deficit for a long time. There's activities, food, and drinks she wants to share with her friends and family over the summer. And what's the point of getting this far if you can't have any flexibility once you get there? And 9 months is a long time for a body to be under the stress of being in a calorie deficit. At some point, your body just needs a break, and like we said, we want to get back to having some flexibility. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean she's just quitting or just going back to normal, because normal is what got her to being 25 pounds overweight in the first place. But now learning how to transition out of this dieting phase while not putting the weight back on and still seeing progress is one of the most important parts of this entire journey. So how does this plan look over the summer? It starts by accepting that her summer calendar is going to be fundamentally different than what it was over the winter. More time at the cabin, more socials with friends and family, and overall just a little bit less structure because, well, it's summer and we just want to relax a little bit and enjoy the weather. Right? Or at least pretend to enjoy the weather if it's anything like here in Newfoundland. So instead of trying to force the same diet routine through a season that's fundamentally different than the last, we adjusted our targets to work with her new calendar instead of fighting it. So just a couple weeks ago when she finished her diet, she was eating around 1,400 calories. Not too bad, all things considered, but not something that gives us a whole lot of flexibility long term. But that's the point. That's why we don't stay dieting forever. So now we first brought her up to around 1,750, which is enough to have a weekend glass of wine with no issue. And from there, we'll likely keep climbing to around 1900 or so as her true maintenance as she settles into this phase. But while we do this, we're making sure that she still keeps the same fundamental routines and habits that have got her here. Because remember, completely slacking off is not how we get to September feeling good about ourselves. She's still keeping her same meal structures by focusing on protein and whole foods. She's still lifting weights and now focusing on lifting even heavier because she has some extra calories coming in fueling her workouts. And she's still prioritizing her steps outside of the gym too, making sure to still get plenty in to keep her metabolism high. And now this is the first time in her life she's going into a busy summer with an actual plan, instead of just trying to keep white knuckling a diet until she finally gets fed up with it. So this time she's actually able to prove to herself that the changes she's made over these last 9 months aren't temporary. They are fundamentally who she is now, and that's what's going to keep her going in the right direction. And if you want to follow along with how this actually plays out for her over the summer, come find me on Instagram at Dylan J. Norman. There I regularly post my clients' wins and progress each week, so you'll be able to see exactly how this unfolds in real time. And that brings us to step 3, why this sets us up for long-term success and why it's the best approach for her right now. Because nobody talks about what comes after the diet, what to do after you lose the weight, and what to focus on. But instead, it's usually just follow this plan, lose the weight, and then once it's off, the job is done. It's as if there's nothing else to do after the fact. But there is, and it's arguably more important than the diet itself. Maintaining the weight loss and focusing on building muscle is almost never treated with the same level of effort as the diet itself. Going into a phase like this, eating at maintenance and really pushing the pace in the gym builds muscle much more effectively than when you are on a diet. So by focusing on this over the summer, Cynthia's going to come into the fall feeling stronger and more defined than when she went into it, continuing to improve instead of going backward. And of course, that'll improve her physique and how her clothes fit. But the reason we do this goes much further. More muscle means a better, faster metabolism. It means better bone density. It means more energy day to day. And for women, these are all things that perimenopause and menopause chip away at over time. And these have been obstacles that she's felt made weight loss so much harder in recent years. But eating more and pushing the pace in the gym is one of the best things we can do to go against that. Because especially at this stage in life, the hormonal changes that your body goes through makes it much easier to lose muscle and bone density as you age, if you don't do something about it. And stopping yourself from losing your independence or breaking a hip in retirement is just as, if not more important than continuing to lose a few more pounds. So because we're continuing to work on Cynthia's strength and metabolism over the summer, when we eventually do go back to a deficit phase in the fall, Cynthia won't be starting from the same place she did last September. She'll have a much bigger engine with more muscle, a body that's had time to adapt to its new weight, and will be much more ready to continue losing fat from where we currently are. Because this was really the whole point of her journey. The goal was never just to lose 25 pounds. It was to become someone who never has to diet again just to feel comfortable in her own clothes. And so our plan this summer is the exact next step to make sure that happens. So if this sounds like you and you feel like this approach would work well with you, I'd love to work with you. The link to apply to my one-to-one coaching is in the description below. Go fill that out before you leave. Let's get started.